Strike while the iron is hot. That is what Liverpool Football Club are looking like they are doing with a summer fee that could spring to 395 million. It's a summer that a lot of rival fans are going to be extremely jealous of. Now, some might laugh at some of the prices of players these days, but I have to say what Liverpool are doing is fairly frightening. Now, I've got to be honest with you. It looks as if they're not just going to challenge again, that they could actually dominate if they were to get some of these players through. There's been links with many players at Liverpool. Majority of them have been signed that people are saying now have clearly had the best window of everyone, and it isn't stopping there. They are continuing to spend money, and they're continuing to be linked with players that, let's be real, a lot of teams would want. We're going to talk about that. Make sure you do me a favor, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Make sure you are scanning the QR code for Match Bingo. Match Bingo is underway. Make sure you have downloaded the app. You have credited the money to your account. You have got your cards for the Euros, for the pre-season games, and of course, the football season that is amongst us. Match Bingo is where it is at. So please make sure that you have downloaded that and you're ready for the season to begin. Liverpool Football Club had started the window in quite some way. There was no understanding of where they were going to be going once there was the signing of Mamardashvili that came in, but the spending just kept going and going and going. And there's been links of the last few weeks. Liverpool fans are getting excited and rival fans alike are getting extremely worried. And I'm one of those. As an Arsenal fan, I'd like to think that we're going to be in a title race this season. We absolutely have to be at the bare minimum in a title race. Likewise, Manchester City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa and the others are playing a little bit more catch-up, but they'll certainly want to try and have a window that gives rival fans the kind of feeling that they'll be at least closer this coming season. But for me, Liverpool are absolutely flying ahead. And I think I'm not alone when I'm an Arsenal fan alongside Manchester City fans who are particularly worried at how good their summer has been and is likely to continue to be. Now, let's go through what they've done so far, because for me, the spending is absolutely phenomenal. It's actually scary what they're doing to put down, to strike while the iron's hot, as I said, and look to dominate English football. And that's something they can do with the sort of signings that they're bringing in. That's something they want to do. And why they, I believe, need to strike while the iron's hot is because they know they have managed to tie down Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah for the next few seasons. And whatever happens, they know that they haven't got long with them left. They haven't got that much in the tank left. At 33 and 32, I believe they are. They're going to have another couple of seasons tops. And it doesn't look like they're slowing down. But at the same time, the body will take its toll at some point. And they don't know when that will be. We hope, as rival fans, that they're nowhere near the level of what they've been over the last 5-6 years. But it doesn't show any signs at the moment that they're going to collapse or they're going to go down. I do believe that Liverpool are favourites for the Premier League and they're favourites to go back-to-back. And unfortunately, the players they're linked with and the players they've signed, it looks like most people are in agreement with that. Let's take a look at what their summer has consisted of first of all, okay? We know before the window opened that they had already signed Mamardashvili. Now, he's going to one day be the future number one goalkeeper at Liverpool. I have no doubt about it. He's been a phenomenal goalkeeper, the Georgian international at Valencia. It was agreed that he would be coming to Liverpool to take over from Alisson, who, let's be real, has been a phenomenal goalkeeper. I still think one of the best in the world. In the next couple of years, I truly believe that Mamardashvili is going to be the number one at Liverpool. So that signing was already there. On top of that, we saw Trent Alexander-Arnold leave for Real Madrid, and there was absolute uproar in that. But what Liverpool did, what I thought was very clever, was they quickly acted on that. And by acting quickly, by getting Jeremy Frimpong in, I think that signing will actually be quite seen as quite underrated. I think he's underappreciated how good of a footballer he is, certainly what he's done at Bayer Leverkusen. In terms of his attack, he's definitely got what Trent Alexander had going forward. Maybe not on deliveries, but certainly in terms of his attacking abilities, his attributes are there. And I think some might say that his defending is probably better or no worse than Trent Alexander-Arnold. So they've got themselves in a fullback that might not be the generational player that Trent Alexander-Arnold is or was. But for me, I look at Jeremy Frimpong as a very good signing. That is a signing that costs £30 million. Now, that's not an unbelievable amount of money. It's certainly not cheap by any means, but certainly for a right-back that's been proven to be good in Europe and has won trophies in Germany, I think it's a very good piece of business. So for me, I look at that signing and rate it highly. Then we come over to the other side of defence, the fullback towards the left back scenario. Now, Liverpool have had Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robertson for a good 5, 6, 7 years now, and they have been superb. Won everything in the game, and I think most people would say in the Premier League they'll probably go down as some of the greatest fullbacks that we've seen, right up there with the greats. Is Kirkes and Frimpong going to replicate that? Well, look, if they're half as good, they'll be superb fullbacks, right? But I truly believe that Kirkes is a superb signing. For £40 million from Bournemouth, he was clearly, in my opinion, the best left back last season in the Premier League. Going forward, he looks phenomenal. He's got the mentality that I like. He's got that kind of little bit of shithousery about him. Bournemouth absolutely love him. That's always good when you're a fan's favourite. And I think he's going to be a superb talent. So I look at that signing and think that, again, is exceptional. That's 70 million spent already on fullbacks. And they got that done very, very early. And then we look at who else they've brought in. The one that I think is clear of anything so far, the best transfer this window for me, Florian Wirtz. £117 million being spent on Florian Wirtz, a player who I truly believe, unpopular opinion, is better than Musiala. Now, I hope Musiala recovers from that horrific injury, and I'm sure he'll be fantastic, as he always is in the Bundesliga. But I truly believe that Florian Wirtz has more about him. I truly believe as a number 10 and a creative midfielder, Florian Wirtz looks special to me. Musiala looks fantastic, but I look at what Florian Wirtz has done, and I just have a preference to him. I just think, as a personal opinion, I like the way he plays more. I will like watching him more. I prefer watching him. I think he'll be suited to the Premier League. I think he's going to create. I think his goals and assists this season would not surprise me if he hits 30 goals and assists this season for Liverpool, because of how they play, because of who's around him, and because of how I think he's going to upgrade on what they've got in Dominic Szoboszlai. I think Florian Wirtz is an unbelievably good signing, and one that I don't think people have really spoken about enough. Breaking the British transfer record. That tells you Liverpool are serious, and they're moving serious, like a serious club. Then, of course, we come to Hugo Ekitike, and it looks like this is going to get done, as the Here We Go has been announced. Now, it actually works out to be 90 million euros, which is around 83 million pounds or something like that. That is an unbelievable amount of money to spend on a player that's only scored 15 goals in the Bundesliga. However, I think the potential is quite clear. And in the Liverpool side, surrounded by the likes of Florian Wirtz, Mo Salah, Cody Gakpo, players that have scored a phenomenal amount of goals for Liverpool, that's always going to be a good thing. Now, I appreciate that there was the Alexander Isak saga, and it looks as if Alexander Isak has become unsettled. We saw Eddie Howe come out yesterday after their defeat to Celtic saying that in pre-season he was dropped because he is unsettled at the moment, and there's a lot of speculation about him. It wouldn't be fair to keep him watching. I've kept him away from it. Now, that to me suggests that actually he might be interested in a move. So watch this space. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying Isak will end up at Liverpool alongside Ekitike. But the way they're spending, the money that I'm hearing they've got, it wouldn't surprise me if they did something absolutely mad. Now, let's get it right. They're not done yet. Ekitike is not the last signing. There's rumours that Darwin Núñez is going to go. There's rumours that Luis Diaz is going to go. And they're not going to go for 20 million euros. They're talking about receiving a fee of over 100 million euros for both these players. That means that there is potential for them to go big on another player after the sales of those. Now, we obviously understand the horrific news that happened to Diogo Jota, with Darwin Núñez, of course, leaving on top of Luis Diaz. That means that they will be short in the attack, even after bringing in Ekitike and Wirtz. That means alongside Salah and, of course, Cody Gakpo, there really is room for at least one, maybe even two more players. And that's scary to think that. Now, of course, they've not just linked with attacking wingers and strikers. They've been linked with Mark Ghee for quite some time now. And there's rumours and suggestions that with Quansah leaving for Bayer Leverkusen, they're probably able to use majority of that money on the player that they want, which, of course, is Mark Ghee. Now, Mark Ghee has been linked to many teams in the last couple of seasons. Newcastle heavily, Chelsea, where he actually was originally from, and, of course, Liverpool. With Konate, looks like he's out the door potentially to Real Madrid either this summer or next. It doesn't surprise me that Mark Ghee is being linked. Now, people might think, well, where's he going to play? They are looking at his squad, Liverpool. They're not looking at what happens to Ghee if Konate plays, or what happens to Konate if Ghee plays. They're not looking at Van Dijk as the only opportunity they've got there. They know he can't play 50 games now at the age of 34. They know that Konate could be off next season to Real Madrid on a free. I think Mark Ghee would be a phenomenal signing. If they're talking about 40 million because he's only got a year left at Palace, wow. I think that is a brilliant bit of business. I would have loved him at Arsenal. I know we've got Gabriel and Saliba, But they've got Konaté and Van Dijk. We're bringing in Mosquera. They're bringing in Mark Ghee. This is the thing. We're bringing in potentially Eze. They're bringing in Florian Wirtz. They wanted Isak. We wanted Gyökeres. So I look now and think, yeah, this is a club that are moving serious. FSG have woken up. Edwards is back. Edwards and Hughes together, we know what they can do. And it looks like Liverpool are finally going to get their wish of a spending spree this summer. Now, if you look at the last few seasons, they haven't actually spent over the top. They didn't spend anything last season. They had Chiesa, who came in at 10 million. That was it. Didn't spend anything in January. Then you look at what they did the previous two windows. They spent 150 million. The season before that, they had Darwin Núñez coming in. And on top of that, another 150 million spent. So that means they've spent 300 million across those two seasons, which means that they have not brought anybody in, which means 300 million makes sense. On top of that, they have in the last few years won Champions Leagues, domestic cups, and of course the league again just gone. They have got money and they're not afraid to spend it. They want to dominate, strike while the iron's hot. They know they've only got a few years left with Salah and Van Dijk. This for me is worrying for Arsenal and for Manchester City and for the league. Now, it's not going to be that they stop there. If they was to bring in Mark Ghee, it would make sense because defensively they're a little bit short. Joe Gomez, still rumoured to not be 100% settled at Liverpool from what we understand. He's always moved with links away. Kwanzaa has gone. That keeps them 3 defenders. They are one short. Mark Ghee looks like it's the guy that's going to come in. But I've said that with Núñez going and with Diaz potentially going, that they've got money. And people are saying to me, who is that money going to go on? Well, there's been very strong links and rumours with Anthony Gordon for quite some time. And I don't know what the relationship at Newcastle and Liverpool is like, but I know for a fact that Anthony Gordon is a Liverpool fan and would love to play for them. Liverpool definitely interested and have been in Anthony Gordon from what we understand. That is going to cost a lot of money. He's not going to go for 40 million. He's not going to go for 50. He's probably going to be going for upwards of 80 million pounds because of English tax and because he's been phenomenal for Newcastle in the last couple of seasons. Is that money well spent on that position? Or do they go all out and get Rodrigo? Now, Rodrigo, we are hearing, was interested in moving from Real Madrid. There's been interest from Bayern Munich, from PSG, from Arsenal, City and Liverpool. And although a couple of weeks ago it looked like Arsenal were actually favourites because he wants to be the top man at the club and the star at the club, it now looks like of recent times that Liverpool are the ones that are favourites to get him. Now, it would not surprise me if Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez were to leave and Liverpool were to put in a monstrous bid of 100 million euros for Rodrigo. For me, that is an absolute scary summer and one that Arsenal, City and the rest of the league are going to find extremely difficult when they come up against Liverpool individually and extremely difficult to challenge them for a league title. And they're not bringing in these players just to win the league again. I believe they want more than one trophy. And you know what? They should be aiming for more than one trophy if that's their summer. They should be aiming for a Champions League and a Premier League. They should be aiming for at least a cup double. They should be, because that summer is phenomenal. Now, I've added it up. It could be, if they was to bring in Mark Ghee alongside Rodrigo, £395 million would have been spent by Liverpool this summer. If you add the fees up of Kerkez and Frimpong together, you add what Florian Wirtz has cost, which is a record bid, you add what Ekitike has been, and then you add Ghee and Rodrigo to that if they were to do a madness, £395 million would have been spent. Do Liverpool have it? Well, apparently PSR says yes. In the last few seasons, we're being told that Liverpool have hardly spent any money. They've made huge profits. PSR is not an issue. And if they wanted to, they could go to £200 million for Isak on top of what they've already spent. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case and we're going to see another bid. Potentially we will. It all depends on what Alexander Isak wants to do. But I tell you this now, even if they don't get Isak and they end up with Rodrigo and Ghee, on top of the signings they've got with Ekitike, I think it's scary. It's even more frightening if Isak comes to Liverpool, because if Isak comes to Liverpool, I truly believe the white flags will be out. Nobody wants to give up. Nobody wants to say, oh my God, it's over before it starts. But that is going to be an incredible task to prevent Liverpool from blitzing teams with Alexander Isak, with Mo Salah, with Florian Wirtz. Even with Rodrigo and Ekitike, if they were to do a madness, even, dare I say it, with Ekitike and Gordon, I still believe Liverpool would be favourites to win the league. They've got an unbelievable side. And they have just spent an unbelievable amount of money. If they put even more on it, it'll be even scarier. Let's see what happens. I'll end on this. Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa, and the rest, they all need to catch up with where Liverpool are now. They're the benchmark. Everybody likes to banter each other about who's going to finish above who. Well, let's not worry about who's finishing above who. Let's worry about how and who is going to finish above Liverpool and how they're going to do it, because they're the teams to beat. Big up to everyone that's here. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Match Bingo's there. Make sure you scan it now. QR code. Get the app. Download it and enjoy. And good luck. We'll see you on the next one.